Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Anthony Gray. Welcome to another episode of Grayscale. I'm going to do something a little odd today. I have to walk in front of the camera for a second because I got the wrong brush. I'm going to, I think this brush might get away with it. Maybe, maybe not. Actually, I'm going to need a watercolor brush. Kind of hold some that water. I can probably edit that out. Anyway, I'm gonna go for a weird patterned abstract kind of background. And first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna soak it with water. 11 by 15 watercolor paper, of course. I'll saturate it with water real good here. As I'm doing that, I'm going to dip into my black India ink. Quite a bit of it here. And I'm going to just let it pour and drip and just do whatever. Now, as I'm saturating it with ink here, it'll catch. I just have to spray it some more. But you see it starting to spider and whatnot, which is kind of what I wanted to do. Just like that. It's gonna happen. It'll do whatever it wants. And wait till you see the effect it does with rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol just separates the paint. All right, all depending on how wet you have it. You can see it starting to separate and get interesting lines. Okay, I'll do with it here in the middle. Now I'm doing this vertically. You can get even more interesting things happening if you put it on a flat table or slightly angled. You would get all sorts of stuff happening. Okay, a little bit more. Then I would just let it fully dry. So right now I'll just take advantage of the poured look going down. The more you use, the more of an effect you'll get. But I guess it all has an effect. Pour more in the same spot there. Just have it go down. Like so. And it all depends on how far you want it to drip down, what kind of effect you want. And it also depends on the dryness of the paper as this stuff is soaking through. Now, when it does dry, the paper it does come back. So you just have to let it fully dry. Okay. So as that's doing what it's doing, I'm gonna be a little more adventurous. I'm gonna have to cut in front of the screen. I'll probably edit this out. We're gonna wipe some of that away too. Now I got tape on here, but the stuff is gonna leak through the tape, so I'll probably use a black background eventually when this all dries up. And depending on how far or how close you are, it's the amount of splatter you'll get. Okay. I want my splatter to be kind of seen. I'm getting it on my there. I'm getting it on my screen, so I'm going to have to stop that for 1 second. take it off the screen before it totally dries up. And I think I'm going to use some black next. Why not? But this time I'm going to be smart, and I'm going to cover up my monitor this time. Dip into my little water tray down here. Get some of this nice black. There we go. Get a nice chunk of it. I'm going a little further away. It gives me bigger splatters. Kind of make it happen in one spot a little bit more. And since it's concentrated with such black ink on the lid here, I can pretty much kind of have carte blanche on all sorts of crazy stuff. Put some right here dead on the corner. And just, this is the type of paint you just definitely have to just let dry for a minute. All right. I think that's good. People are just sending me notifications. That's why you hear that ringing. They're just probably saying hello or whatever. Okay. I'm gonna keep it just like that. I have to let it definitely fully dry. And I'm gonna do something with this pattern when it fully dries. Like I say, when it fully dries, I have to take the tape off. When it fully dries, I'll paint the edges black, because I won't do any more to it. But once again, let it fully dry. It has to be totally dry. I'm just cleaning off my brush here when it's totally dry, and we'll continue on from there. All right. So stay tuned. Hey guys, I'm back just for a second here to show you exactly what I've done. Not really rocket science, just put black edges around the border here. Of course I skipped a few with my brush, but I'll just cover it up with my finger there, because it's not much, nothing much. Okay, I think that about did it for that. Okay, I'll zoom in a little bit so you see what I've done. Pretty much what it looks like up close anyway. But this is what it looks like up close. All right, if I can, there we go. Show you guys the full thing. I'll just go straight up if I can, gently. I don't think gently is gonna happen. Maybe so. But that fluid looks like totally dry. About, well, at least the inside of it. About 30 minutes. Let it fully dry. The droplets is what takes time the most. As you see, I did a little screw up with the tape. I didn't tape it all the way down. When you don't tape it all the way down, the tape goes to its lowest point, and so you get this. All right, but that can be corrected. Another piece of tape, firmly press it down, swipe over it with black, and it gives you a very sharp edge, so you don't get that. Okay, it's pretty much dry. A lot of it kind of whipped back. Okay, it's not going to bow anymore. It's doing all the bowing you see is done. All right, but it's actually the paint doing this. Once it dries, it kind of constricts the paper. So, but that's where that's coming from. But when it's totally dry, I'll tape this all back up again when it's totally dry, and then I'll do my work on this splattered up image. You see, I'll draw back a little bit. That's the total look, and it's all dry in here. And I'll do my painting with this background. This I used to do a lot of these, and they're fun to do, fun to see what everything reacts like, especially when it all dries. So a lot of the brown took over where the black was, because the black wasn't really that strong to begin with. I diluted it a lot every time I poured water and alcohol on it, but it gives you this type of design, which is cool because it's not as dark as some of my abstract stuff usually would be. But it gives a very interesting background, and I don't tend to use colors for my paintings that kind of mimic that background, so unless I wanted to do so. But that's what I wanted to show you. All right, and when I get back, this, like I said, be totally dry and taped up, and we will proceed on with the painting. So stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. Hopefully you can hear me pretty well. Let's get this out the way. As you can see, I'm looking at myself through my monitor over here on the side. I'm gonna attempt a flower that's always somewhat eluded me. Fairly intimidated by the thing, really. I don't know why. I concentrated so much on tackling a flower that's actually a lot tougher, which is the roses. Started with the poppies and stuff like that. But we're gonna do an iris. I gotta really practice on these. You know. So I'm just gonna dive right onto it. The colors I'm using for this subject will be sap green, titanium white, cad yellow, and cad red. And right now I'm just dipping in a little bit of water this time, so you'll probably be hearing a whole bunch of notifications. And I'm gonna just lightly sketch in the stalk a little bit. I'll put a little curve to this guy. Something like that, just sketching it in real lightly. Okay. And like I said, I'm just using water right now. Water and titanium white. The white will more than likely obviously be covered. Now the iris in itself is like a odd bell shape. Okay, I'm just gonna draw the general shape, sketch out the general shape rather. Okay, that's obviously the bottom bell, and there's two pretty much on the side there, like so. And you can pretty much somewhat mimic, they're all bell shaped, kind of mimic it on the other side there. It's one petal, it got a higher petal in the center. Okay, and you can flare one out if you want, but it comes back in like so. You got one in the center, up around in here somewhere, something like that. And obviously you got one on the side. Look like I don't know if you can just imagine what a open frilled skirt look like. That's pretty much kind of what they look like. If you got two on the side that kind of also flare out like so, and maybe a little bit underneath like that. I'm gonna put one that's kind of something like that. It flares out like that. And maybe a little flare like so. Got little petals all over the place. Okay, so that's really one underneath here, kind of bows and cups under. All right, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna try to tackle this pretty much one petal at a time. So we're gonna get rid of, we're gonna knock one off with the stem here. I'm gonna dip into a little bit of the sap green. I'm not gonna use the medium today. I'll just use water. And I might put a little touch of red in that green, just a little bit, because of the design in the background there. And obviously, since I outlined it in white, you're gonna cover up some of that white so your stalk will grow a little bit. But that's okay. I'll just shape it just like so. Looks like a little curve here and there. Actually, it's got a little bit of red in it. I'm gonna get just a slight touch of yellow. I'll blend in a little highlight on the stalk here. Just a little bit. Basically, all I have is just the yellow on it. If I want it highlighted even more, I would add a little white. If I wanted to really to stand out a little more. We'll see, maybe a slight touch of white in the yellow. Let's just have it show up just a little bit, maybe down here, like that. Now, if I gotta zoom it in, I'll zoom it in. But like I said, I'm not using any medium, just water to blend it, like so. Now, I will let's sketch out these guys first. I'm going to use the deep red. The reason why I'm going to use a deep red, the whole iris will probably be some kind of a red, but different shades of red. So I'm getting red, a slight touch of green in the red, just to darken it up a little bit. Red and green are the opposites of each other, so they'll just fairly cancel each other out. All right, so I'm gonna go within the middle part here, right in here, which is the inside of this guy. All right, just in the inside here. All up in here, a little deeper red. Once it gets to the highlighting and such, then I'll fan it out. And I'll just bring it out a little bit. I'm not really worried about the white showing through because it will disappear during the highlights. But want it fairly dark in there. Okay, everything else will be pretty much highlight. Now, with an iris, you got these ripples, okay, and you'll just lightly you'll highlight the ripples. Now, I'll highlight this rose. Good Lord, it's not the rose. I gotta change. Hold on for a second. It's not the battery pack. It's this guy. I gotta put the wire in like that. Not the battery pack. Okay. Hopefully I didn't kick you guys around too much. I guess you guys are good. I can zoom you in a little more so you guys can really check it out actually. And you guys don't have to see my head. Like so. I'll concentrate on these fellas. But I'm gonna do a little bit of highlighting right now. Right where you see where it bows out at, okay, that will be pretty much a kind of a lumpy thing there. And maybe a little bit right in there, like so. Okay. And if I can find a smaller, I do have a smaller one. Oh man, it's caked full of stuff. I'm just gonna rinse off my brush here. And I'll scruff some of that in there. Just get rid of a lot of that hard edge that's in it. Just pat some of that down in there. Try to make the transitions kind of smooth there. Just a little highlights here and there. Make it a little smoother. We'll get into the other stuff a little later, but just to separate it a little bit. I might want to, I'm rinsing off the brush, because as I'm looking at it, like I say, you guys can't see me bend and duck and stuff. I'm gonna mix in a little bit of green, slight touch of red, just to get it a little darker. A darker tint of red, really, in the center part. Right up in here, just darken it a little bit. When you deepen the color, everything else kind of stands out a little bit more. Something like that, just to get a little darker. So I'm still checking it out here and there, just making sure everything's cool. All right. Going back into my red, no medium other than water. I'm going to get a little bit of green. I'm going to mix it in with that red just to deepen it. It's my first, it's the foundation color. Just a little bit of water. I still want to keep the red opaque, and yet just a little deeper red. You don't need much green. Like I said, the opposites are kind of cancel each other out, but you still want it on the red side. All right, and I'm gonna go up and under this fella here, just like that. I know you probably hear the TV set a little bit. I'm just blocking in the color right now. Everything else will come a little bit later. I'm dipping into more red. It's Cad Red and Sap Green. And I'll get to the shapes and whatnot a little bit later. But right now, I'm just blocking in color. With an iris, it's definitely a series of very clever strokes. All right. Definitely. We're going to get a little bit more of the red, Cad Red. I'm just dipping in a little water, loosen up the paint just a little bit, but not too much to where it becomes a glaze. I'm getting some green. It's going to be really dark. Getting some more red, even that out a little bit. And remember, we're going to also have like a light source and all that fun stuff. We're going to go around here. We're going to block in all of this too. Just block it in. That's all I'm doing, blocking it all in. Don't necessarily have to be really too smooth on that end. You're going to have ruffles and all that stuff. And like I say, all of this is a technique. All right, just getting a little more water, loosening up the paint that I do have. And as I'm getting the water, I'm adding paint in with it. A little bit of sap green, a little bit of the red, mixing it in with my brush. All right, and I'm just continuing on. So I need a deep red, a deep color in order for the highlights to show. But basically I'm getting in the basic shapes. Just like so. Just like that. I remember I got the kind of the first highlights rummaging around in there. I'm getting a little bit of yellow this time. I got red on my brush, but I'm getting some yellow. No white into the yellow yet. And a lot of the highlight source for this guy, you also got to remember, okay, let's put a little dot here, let's put a little dot here. All your little stripes or whatnot, your striations will come in that direction. And if it's highlighted here, get a little press, bring it on down. Okay, especially up here where it kind of bows out a little bit. You might have a little bit here where it kind of bows out and just disappears. In here, it might bow out a little bit more. Okay. We're gonna do something different, like in here. In here will be a separate, like a fold inward part right in there. Right in that part, it'll fold in a little bit. So that pedal's folding out toward us. All right. Okay. We'll go on. Let's go on to the other side. I'll highlight a little bit on that. More yellow. I got red on the brush, and I did not wipe away the red off the brush. Okay. Remember where that dot is. Okay. And we're gonna go up and around, just like so. And we're gonna do a little bit maybe on this side. Bow it out like that. We got one kind of flipping around on this side here, just like that. It's gonna be fairly dark all up, all up in there. And we'll soften in some of that. We'll scrumble in some of that there. Bring some of that. Just shade it a little bit. Just tone it down just a wee bit. The more you do it, the more comfortable you are with making them, the more the process will speed up for you. So just take your time. I'm rinsing off the brush because as I look at it, I know where to kind of put some deeper shading in there. So I'm getting some green, a little bit of green, getting some, I'm making a darker form of red, just a little green in there. Okay, and I can play around with like some shadow up in here, much darker. Getting a lot more green and a little bit of red. Remember, the opposites gray each other out. And I'm just adding some deeper, there we go, a little deeper color. And I'm gonna take it and we'll go in reverse and fade it outward into some of that light area. Just adds to the volume of what your flower will look like. Get a little darker all up under here, a little darker in there. We're gonna fade some of that out into the light. I'm gonna want it kind of dark in there. And we'll fade some of that out into this light, just like that. Very lightly, just like so. So basically we're gently just working in some darks and lights in this stage. If you can get some of this done now, okay, it just saves a lot of heartache later on. Don't be afraid to use your finger to soften some of that. Okay. Up in here. And every time you use your dark, you don't have to really pounce on the brush. Just gently, fade in some of that dark. Maybe a little bit in here. Get rid of some of that edge, that hard edge. All right. We get a little touch right here in the center. All right. Do it at your discretion. Right now, it just looks like an amorphous blob. But you see where I left where the petals would be. All right. So everything's kind of, kind of planned in a way. All right. Okay. Let's play with the outer rim a little bit. I'm gonna use just the natural red. I'm gonna test out something for a second. See if the natural red sticks out enough before I add the highlights. Natural red, no particular, oh yeah, that'll work. Something like so. Just like that. And it sticks out pretty good. All right. I kind of like that. All right. And we'll play around with, well, let's kind of color and some of that a little bit, and maybe a little bit out here, just like so. I'll play around with a little bit of it in here. This is a series of quick little strokes. That's all. A little press, drag, and release. And I'll make it look softer here. Blend it right in a little bit. Blend it in a little bit. We're gonna put some of that out here, especially in the shadow areas. This is all natural red. I'm blending it in, just wiping it into the canvas a little bit, just like so. So it'll all start to form and everything as you're doing it. Like I say, as you get accustomed to the folds and where certain things are going to be, let's put a little fold out here with this guy, just like that. So we got two that are folding out that way. All right, and you kind of got your instant shadow. All right, so I'm still looking at it here and there. Maybe put a little something right up in there like that, and we'll wipe. Just the main thing is try to get it as soft as you can. All right, I'm gonna rinse off my brush a wee bit, just a little bit. I'm looking at certain things on it, like for instance this. If it's a little too bright, we can kind of soften some of that just a little bit, just like that. I promise it'll look like something after a while. Now here is where you get you can get to be somewhat pretty selective. Okay, I'm gonna use a little bit of, well, I am gonna use yellow and a little bit of titanium white. I'm gonna brighten up this yellow quite a bit, and the slightest hint of red. Now when you add the red, use the smallest amount of red. Now I'm getting kind of a weird yellow pinky color, which is fine. I'm adding white back into it to return some of the yellow, just a little bit of the yellow. I'm gonna add some water just to loosen up this mix. Okay. All right. The color that I have, I think I like. We're gonna see how that looks. I'll test it on the side that I want kind of lit a little bit more. And I'm gonna give a slight push, and we're gonna go around like so. Now with that, you have to do a little bit of shading. All right, just smooth a lot of that out. Now, because I'm using water, it will evaporate rather quickly, and I still want a gentle fade in there. I don't want nothing so abrupt. Okay, and a little bit here, right on the peak. Just like so. This is obviously the petal that's coming, just like so. Give it a little push. Give me a nice little rim of color. Like so. Just put a little bit of it in there. If I feel it's a little bit too strong, I'll tone it down a little bit. Bring some of that color in there, like that. I'll still use a little bit of this color. We're wrapping it around, just like so, like that, just to bring it out a little bit. And we'll just circle around on the other side, very soft, and we're gonna just bring it around there like that. I'll bring a little highlight line right in there, like so. Just using the almost orangey mix. Do it a piece at a time. Okay, that's all. Oh, we'll continue on with this guy. Take it and we're gonna loop it around. We're gonna have this one trail a little bit like that. Come on down. Instant shade and fade. Just use your finger. Matter of fact, we'll add a little rim here to give it a little separation. We'll give it a slight push. Slight push. Just like that. Okay. And we're going to get that threading going. Like that. There. Really got to concentrate on getting that nice smooth transition in there to play on the shadows. All right. If you feel you got a little bit bright, then you can tone down the brightness by going in reverse with the shadows, and I'll show you that in a second. Let me rinse off the brush, excuse me. Just rinsing off the brush. I'm gonna dry it off real quick. And let's make another shadow. A little bit of green, a little bit of red. I'm gonna concentrate on the shadows this time. And we're gonna go in reverse. Add a little bit of water. Then you do it all in layers. Okay, so if you want, I want to accentuate some more of that dark and fade it in where that light is if it's too choppy, and lightly fade that in there, just like that. Okay, and just fade it in a little bit. Kind of shows off that. Let's bring that out a little bit, just like that. You can always tone it down just a wee bit. All up in here, tone it down a little bit. Kind of bring it. That brings this petal out a little more. Okay, that's basically it. Get a little more of that dark. Like I said, got a little bit of water in it, so you'll still see something underneath all of that. And we're toning down some of that red, just to make some other edges show out a little bit more. All right, that's all. Okay, done with that for right now. Going into some more highlight color. So I'm grabbing a little bit more yellow. Just a little yellow into the reddish orange mix I have. All right, and we're gonna highlight a few things here on the top. Like we'll accentuate maybe that guy just a little bit. And we'll plop in a few like so. Like that. Give them a little bright one in there. Just like that. And we'll bring it down. Like that. Sometimes it just takes a touch. Like that. Sometimes. Okay. we got a little, well, we'll mess with that a little bit later. As I'm looking at it, if I want some direct kind of light, then I'll use a little bit of, slight touch of white and yellow. And be very sparing with it. I don't think I'm gonna use too much water with this next step here. These are for the really bright highlights, which you really don't need too much of. Okay, I'm gonna put the tip directly, just like that. And you bring some of that in. All right, just a little bit here and there, very sparingly. You just want it on key little areas on your flower. And sometimes it just takes just a dot, a little line like that. Just little key spots, maybe a little shine. You can scrumble some brightness in the middle. Okay. Just takes practice. Maybe a little bit of line there, especially when it comes to like certain areas in here you want to give a little curve to, and overlap a little bit, make them a little uneven. Okay, if it's a little too strong there, you can always repaint that with dark. And you do one section at a time, actually. Oh, let's put a little bit of something right in there. Fade that out a little bit. Like that. Now, as I'm looking at it, bring in some of that curve, like so. So we're adding in a few lines here and there. I'm gonna fade that in a little bit dark and add a line in there. So I already know what I'm gonna do with that. So that's fine. Now remember, it looks like the frills of a skirt. Okay, so whatever you want to put as the highest kind of highlight, I'm gonna scrumble in some lines right in there like that. Smooth it out a little bit, especially around the edges. Like that. Get a little brighter there. And just smooth it in. Like that. Get a little, sometimes you can put a little, get a little push and get that feathering in there like that. Just give him a strong highlight, and we'll give him a strong edge right there. And I'm just going to use the outer tip. Just a lot of fading in there. All right. Now, I'm just cleaning off the brush here. We are going to really, we're gonna get some more dark going here. I'm just using, like I said, I'm not using any medium, just all water. All right. I'm going back into my red and my green, sap green, cad red mix. And we're going to just darken up a few things, because all I'm doing really is accentuating the places that are kind of lit. Get some feathering going here in certain spots, just like that. It just highlights everything and brings whatever I want out to be out. Whatever I want shaded will be shaded. Okay. Like I say, some things I can deepen, some things I can subdue if it's a little too hard. All right. Okay. That's basically what I'm doing as of right now. I'm checking out things, making sure it's somewhat all right. Okay. Let's get to a script liner brush. We're going to do some clever, almost like silver linings. Dipping in more into the water, I'm going to use the yellow-white mix. Get the paint to almost an inky consistency. All right. But like I said, I'm using water, no glaze today. And we're going to be a little clever. Actually, let's get more white, because what you're doing is the direct highlights, like little pinpoints of really strong light. All right. Just dipping in a little more water into this yellow-white mix, more white than anything. And we're going to just play with little highlights here and there, little pockets. Now, that's got to be even brighter, so I might just stick with mostly titanium white. All right. And we're really going to touch it up with some brightness just here and there. I want it a little brighter than that, so I'm going to stick with nothing but pure titanium white this time. All right. So we'll try this and see how it happens. See how it works. Yeah, we can get away with a little bit of that. All right. So we'll do little bits and tips, just like that. Slight little outlines here. It doesn't have to be all over the place. Just little key areas where you think it might need a little boost of highlight. Maybe around in here a little bit, but you don't have to add it everywhere. Just strengthen up some of the edges. Give your eyes somewhere to kind of catch this stuff, like so. Getting a little more titanium white, just stirring it in with my script liner. I don't have to have it exactly even and perfect. Stagger your lines a little bit. All right. Like so. I won't bring it all the way in. A little heavier out here. I'm twirling the brush around just a little bit because I want kind of a strong edge. I'll fade in the rest inside that line like that. Getting a little more titanium white. All titanium white. We'll put a little bit right up in here. Like I say, I'm just touching and staggering a little bit. It's like so. A little bit of unevenness. I'm still checking things out here and there. Maybe a little bit of a curve up in here. Just like that. Just straighten that out a little bit. Some staggering in there. Just like that. A little bit, like I say, a little bit of unevenness in the petals. A couple of touches right in here. A little smoother on this outside edge right in here. It's a little smoother. I really don't have to mess with it too much more than what you see me do here. Up around here, I'm twirling the brush as I'm doing it, so it gives me this unevenness a little bit. I'm bringing some of that inward. I can stagger some highlights like this using the side of the brush, and I just wipe my finger like that. So some of that broken line actually helps. I'm gonna get some paint, just a little bit of paint, because I want a thicker outline up around in here a little bit. Like that. Just little bits here and there. Putting away the script liner. I'm just going to a round brush. I'm gonna make it a little more dark. All right. A little bit of green, a little bit of red. I'm gonna mix it in with the round brush just a little bit. It's got water in it. And remember, I still want this a little darker. Just like so. Surround some of that, and I'll fade some of that in with my finger a little bit. Just like that, just to tone some of that in. Same thing with a little bit of this. Tone it in a little bit. There. Just like that. Okay. If I want something a little darker, a little deeper set in, I'll just like that. Okay. As it dries, the color gets flat. So. All right. Now that I've got a little bit of that done, we can go for some of these skirty things here on the outside. Now, petals on the outside are generally a little bit lighter, and we're gonna follow that same theme. I'm just getting a patch of red, a patch of white, a nice little pink going here. A little more white than that. So getting some very light red happening here. I'm gonna put a little bit of yellow in this. All right. Get a slight touch of water. Get some of this pinky stuff happening. And we're gonna outline all of this. We're gonna, just like so. Now I kind of know where the folds are gonna be with this fella. All right, just like that. So we'll do this one first. We're gonna go around with this fella here. Remember, they got a kind of a fold. I'm just getting the general shape of this guy. There we go. Outside petal looking in at us. And that's what we're doing right now for this one. All right. Okay. Let's give him a little more action here. Widen him up a little bit, just like that. Let's smooth him out a little bit, because this petal out here is like kind of like halfway in the back somewhere in there. You got to get, like I said, accustomed to where the folds would be in something like this. So he's really pinked out here, but I generally want to keep him a little bit. I'm gonna get a little bit of red here. I got pink on my brush still, because we got the inside skirt in here underneath the petal, and make it disappear a little bit in there. Give that illusion of it being kind of cupped inward. Gotta make them consistently darker though, so we'll just give straight red in here, just like that. All right, we're gonna give a little bit on the other side too. The other side's kind of got the same thing happening like this, not as big, like that, and bring it to a somewhat of a point, like that. All right. So this is the outside and the back of this petal that looks like this. Okay. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. Okay. Since I got this one in the back, I'm gonna just press and release. Gets a little taller in the middle, and then it kind of disappears and comes back out, just like that. I'm gonna add a little white to this little pinky mix here. And you get some bright strokes in there. like around in here, and we're going to give it a little curve like that. Some go in, some go out. More of a curve here. Now, if you feel that's a little too dark or too light or too strong, you can just reverse it and go up and into your, remember it gets a little higher in the middle and then it gets a little lower in here, and you just lightly just fade it right in there. Clean off my brush. Now I can fade that in there. You can just kind of bring some of that back out. Whoops, some of that back out. Get rid of some of that, and just fade some of that away. Bring that down a little bit lower. I'm just wiping off after every little swipe there, and we'll bring some of that lower too. Bring some of that lighter color in, just like that. Get rid of that curve in there. If you feel that you went over a certain spot that you didn't want to, that's okay. You take a little bit of plain water and you can wipe some of that white away and bring your curve back a little bit. Nice thirsty brush will get rid of some of that there. Just wipe it away, and it goes away. Bring some of that curve back. Okay, a little bit of white, maybe a slight touch of yellow. And we'll bring some curve into it. A very light touch for the curve. Come around a little bit more on this one. Like so. Just like that. Okay, and these are a little bit lighter. Alright. And you got like a little ruffle, so some come in a little more, a little higher on some. All a play in shade and light and whatnot. So it's all in how strong you really want it. Like I say, if you don't want a lot of it, go in the reverse. You can kill some of that. Let's say I want this one to come out a little stronger. Like press, pull, and you gently release. All right. There. A little bit of highlight. It makes it stick out a little more. All right. So we got that one kind of frilled out a little bit. Had a little fun with it. Let's get a nice little curve on the other end over here. We'll go with a little bit more of the pink side here. A little white into the pink. And we'll bring a little curve in there. Okay. And we'll something like that. We'll bring it around like that. I want to touch it, the tip of my brush with just white, just the tip. Just the tip. And it's just a touch. Flick of the wrist. All right. All right. Put a little highlight in here. And we'll fade some of that out. Just a little press. Gently fade that out. You kind of want the intensity in the middle a wee bit. All right. Getting a little bit of red and white mix. Touching a little bit more red into the white. This really highlight that little edge in there. Maybe a little bit of nothing but white. And it just takes a little touch like that. So take a nice bright rim right around in here. We'll help that out. Just like that. And we'll bring it around a little bit. Destroy the inside edge a wee bit. Okay. You can have a little touch here just in the rim. Get rid of some of that in there. Like I say, you can reverse that with a little darker. We'll highlight that little edge right in there, like so. Get rid of that inside. It's the inside edge. Fade that inside edge out a little bit. Rinsing off the brush. Go into our script liner. We're going to do that silver lining thing again. Pure white, which will be seen even with this pink. And we're going to give it a nice little edge here. And maybe a little bit here. I'm twirling the brush as I'm pulling. Okay, so I'll do a little, you twirl a brush, twirl a brush, twirl a brush, like that. We'll come around here on the outside. I'm just twirling the brush, make it uneven, and I'll just give it a little wipe like that. Right here in this outside edge here, I'm gonna brighten that up a little bit here. Just like that. All right. Okay. I'm just looking at it, see if I need to add anything else. Maybe a few streaks of little guiding lines here and there. Just make it a little smoother, like so. I don't necessarily need to have it overpoweringly dark because it doesn't need that. I'm just brightening up just the edges a little bit. I gotta fade in all of that, just like that. Give it a nice little bright tip there. All right, just like that. I'm still looking at it. Even here on the top, I'll put in a little brightness right in there. Just fade it out a little bit. Just like that. Okay. Let's play with this guy here. Go back into my red. A little bit of red. A little bit of white. Tiny touch of water. Just a little touch of water. A little bit more red. And all this is just slight touches. You get the tint you want. And once again, we're gonna shape this out. I'm just blocking in color, blocking in the color. Just blocking in the shape right now. Need a little bit more. So I'm just dipping into my white, dipping into my red. Nice little pinky color. And we're gonna just block that in. All up around in here. Gonna block it in real good. Just like that. And think the direction of the petals, all right? Even for this guy. The top is pretty smooth. That's where the fold is, right in here. All right. So that's where your top, that's where your fold is, right in here. All right. And it comes from the inside out. So let's kind of straggle those that way, going in that direction. There. I'm going to take some bright white, just on the tip here, and I'll just touch, just touch. And we're going to take this inward, inward, curve it, curve it. Not all of it has to be even, but much like that. We're going to take a little bit of dark red. We're going to reverse some of that from inside and go outward. A little more dark red than that. Like it's coming in from the shadow. Just like that. The more you stroke it, the smoother it gets. Put a little bit of that in here too. And doing it this way, it accents some of the highlights. That's a deep one in there like that. That making a little more sense to you? Okay. And maybe a little bit of a highlight in there, coming on down like that. A little bit of there, like so. And we'll, there we go. Much like that. Flowing lines. Flowing lines. Let's get a little bit of yellow. I'll add a slight touch of yellow in this. Just like that. Okay. We could even tint some of this yellow. Why not? Just like that. A little tint of yellow. There. A little bit of yellow. Just want to add some, kind of unify some of this. And just rub some of it in there. Your discretion if you want to add that much into it or not. Really your choice. A little bit right in there too. There. Something like so. We got the big bell here. So I'm getting some white, putting it into the red, get some little yellow, the smallest amount of red in there. Gotta still have a little bit of red in there. All this in here is just me. Here, get that bell. Definitely get the bell here. Now the bell's gonna have all sorts of little ripples and turns and whatnot. But we're gonna round that bell off in there. Getting a little bit of water. Loosen up the paint. This is just the foundation color. Follow me. I'll round that off a little bit. Now the reason why also I got white in here, it covers up some of that background too. I don't want too much of that background showing through. Not on this. So I'm just, like I say, blocking in the color. Everything else will come after I block in the color. Just like that. Okay, dokie. I guess it would help if I bring the camera down a little bit, wouldn't it? Like this. All right. Alrighty then. I think I'm gonna have something of a curve for this guy. Maybe right in here. We'll have a curve coming down, a little fold in the petal. All in here would be some kind of a fold in the petal right in here. That's why I got it a little bit on the yellow side. I'm gonna get a little bit of red, slight touch of green, the slightest touch. Okay. And I'm gonna darken in where the shadow would be. I'll bring some of that inward like that, up in here. And we'll bring some of that up in here. So I'm just spattering a little bit of red. Just like so. We're gonna deepen up some of that color up in there. Like it's a little recession in there. Just like that. All right. So we got a little recession, so all the highlights are, will kind of accentuate the deep darkness that's in there. All right. Okay. Just cleaning off the brush, because a lot is a series of. Let me separate this one guy really good here. This guy here will separate him a little bit more. Just like that, and we'll outline him because he's the bright part being folded in, so he kind of has to stick out a little bit. So just blocking in a little bright color right in there like that. We're just gonna kind of get them a little brighter. All right, and so we'll work on what's going on in here. All right, get a little bit of yellow, get a little bit of white, a lot of yellow and white, a slight touch of red, like the tip of the brush should be red. Get a little bit of water. Like I said, I'm not using glycerin, just water today. And we're gonna, this thing has a bow on it. It bows outward, like so. And we're gonna fade that in a little bit, make that a little softer, like that. And we're gonna come around on the other side, like so. And get some of that nice feathering. The feathering cannot be even all the way around. Okay, we got a little curve coming in here. We got curves, like a little push. We got curves coming in here. Maybe up there a little bit. Smooth some of that in there. Okay. Technically, my brush is way too fat for a lot of these details, to be honest with you. So let's go for a little teeny tiny brush that may help me out a little better. Like this little guy right here. All right, we get a little bit of white, wee bit of yellow in it. Okay, and we're gonna do a series of little curves like that. Sometimes a dot. Oh, we'll bring some of that in there like that. So I'm bringing some of this up and around, some of the highlights, just a little bit here and there. Highlighted the ball a little bit, like that. Press, and we'll slide, make some of that disappear. Press, higher one right in there. Kind of like comes around like a skirt. Some of these come in a little bit more, like that. Just like so. Just like that. Get some of this really bright and bring it in there. Sometimes you just need to tail it in, just touching, tie the rim like so. As we do this, because it's such a light color, you need something to separate rid of some of that edge. Need to separate some of this. Just like that. Okay. Especially around in this area here where sometimes a nice touch, because you want to get that staggered look, and then you curve it all around there. Especially with this guy. This guy is kind of hanging around on the outside. He's a little brighter. He kind of sticks out a little bit. I'm just scrumbling some brighter color in the circular direction of the petal, like so. All right. As I'm checking it out, still need a little bit of just like that. Little rim of color to kind of help that stick out a little more. Sometimes it's just a push, like so. As I'm looking at it, now I'm going into finer little details of highlights here and there that I feel it might need. Little directions. The direction lines are very important. Something like that. Soften the end a wee bit. Bring him out like that. Smooth them out just a little bit. I'll show you how what this guy looks like when I drag it, when I pull the camera back. I'm going to go a little bit into my dark, not too much. I don't want to have it too dark on the outside petals, but just a little bit of a shadow. Okay. That's a little bit of a shadow in there. Like that. Now that I just did that, right, I gotta strengthen my little rim here. It's like that. So just bring some of that out. Getting rid of this brush, I'm gonna go back into either a round brush or a better conditioned flat brush, so I can accentuate a little more of the shadow area. So I'm getting a little red, getting a little red and green. Remember, they kind of gray each other out. Not necessarily in equal amount, because you still want it more on the red side, but just a deeper red, enough to portray shadow. Just a little bit. And I'm gonna come in here just a little bit and kind of accentuate just this little edge here, and I'll take it and I'll just drag it upward. You want the dark to outline it, but you want to kind of have it go in an upper direction like that. So it just frames everything nice. And your level of darkness, however you want it, is definitely up to you. I'm just darkening in the inside of the petals a little bit, getting a little more dark. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. It kind of brings it out more, like this. And I just use my finger to fade some of that. All right, look at that. There. Some of the shine like this, that's just wet paint. So don't let that fool you. That's just wet paint. It's just a glare from the lights. As it dries, it'll set. All right, so let's pull back a little bit. Let's see what that looks like. There you go. All right. Now, you can see with the pinkish on the bottom, how brownish red, almost a maroon up there. Okay, what it looks like. We'll go to a smaller brush, and we're gonna mess with some of that green. We're gonna get a couple of petals that are kind of stuck to the stalk a little bit. So it's like almost like a little triangle thing right in there, and they kind of, I'm gonna give it a quick press, just like that. Just press, blocking in some color a little bit, just like that. Streaks, the streaks going. I'll shape this up as we get into it here, but I kind of just want the it comes to a point actually, like right up there, and it comes out a little further, and then it goes back in, just like that. Got another one on the other side. You can, it's really up to you how you want to it's shaped like that. Once we get into it's up to you which one you want to be the bigger flower or the bigger petal. Okay, and that just comes in highlighting. Okay, so I'll take a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, and let's say for this guy, you can give a press and pull a quick release right around the end there, like that. Kind of disappears in there like that. This I would prefer a different brush with, but I'll just do it with this one. It's still a flat brush. Strokes would have to be just a little quicker. Now I'm gonna add a little more white to it because I want this one to overlap. So it just comes out like a little rim. It comes out and it just keeps going downward like that. And I'll bring it straight down like that. Get some interesting streaks going with this fellow. Just like that. See how easy that is? Okay. I can actually highlight. That's a nice strong highlight, but we'll do a little tap of highlight here. Just like so. That can be pretty much dark in there. So I'll get a little bit of red, a little bit of green. Slight touch of red and green together. We'll darken that up a little bit. Maybe all I need is the green. Right up in there. Just like that. Okay. I think I might want a nice petal coming out of there. Just for a little bit of, I don't know, just to be a little different. So we're gonna, I got enough sap green. Just get a general petal coming out. Let's give it a little stem, and we'll just thicken it up right in here, just like that. And I'll turn the brush around like that, something like that. Don't matter. Doesn't have to be that pretty. I'm just gonna get a nice general shape of a leaf. All right, a little further out like this, and everything's being aimed right down here. And we're gonna do the same thing here. Everything's aimed right toward that thin little something like that. Okay, just like that. Make it nice and even, nice and pretty for that one. Let's do another one. Something like that. We'll have it come here. You know what? I kind of like the way that looks. I'll go the opposite direction, like this. Give them half a petal, just like that. Half a petal this time. Okay. Let's go into our yellow. Go into a little bit of white, a little yellow and white. The slightest touch of green. I'm gonna wet my brush, not much. let's do some cute little highlights for this fella right there. Push, drag, and just like that. Just like that. That should be really enough for that guy. Really. And we'll soften him up, blend him a little bit. There. We'll lighten up this side, give him a curve. Curve him right in there. Nice and gentle. Just like that. A nice little line there. Just like that. Don't need too much of a highlight on this fella. We know where he is. I guess I'll do the remainder with what's left of my red. A little bit of green. Alright. A little red, a little green. Darken them up a little bit. Right here on the other side. And we'll give him a little push right in there. Just like that. Give him a little dark edge in there. And maybe on this side we'll reverse it. And I'll blend some of that color in there. Like that. Bringing that some little darkness in there. Just like that. Take some of that paint off if it's a little too heavy. And I'm gonna straighten that leaf out a little bit. Just like that. All right. Definitely, like I say, I'm not really a great painter of irises, but just getting a little bit of the strokes. I'll tease a little bit of just a little line of the interior. A little piece of a curve right in there. Just like that. Just a little bit. There, like that. Okay. I don't think I need to do any other playing around with this. I'm just gonna maybe do a little bit of slight of hand shading here, just to separate a little bit of this in here. Now I don't want to highlight everything or shade it all, but just within this little corner in here, just slightly make it darker so it can. So the outside petal can stick out just that much more. Real slick shading, just a little bit of brown and some of that. Remember, it dries and it dries darker. We'll shade some of this guy here. It's got really light brown in it. That's like so. Just like that. Alrighty. Take the tape off. I think we're far enough away. Let me quickly sign my name on this. Thank you guys for checking this out. It may have taken a little time, but hopefully it helps you in your beginning stage of painting one of these guys. I'm gonna start painting them a little more and more until I get comfortable with them. This fellow should have been painted a little larger, but it's because I don't do too many of these, but I'm gonna start doing them. That's the only way you will improve and get better with them, is to keep doing them. It is this thing eluded me on purpose. I was just intimidated, really. But sometimes you just gotta dive in, you know. Just like that. Okie dokie. All right, let's see what it looks like without the I have this already pre-painted, framed out in black. Just carefully pull it off so I don't take off the black, obviously. I usually like to show everybody what the finished product would look like. Not as smooth as other artists, but like I say, I haven't done too many of these. Slowly peel it back. All right. Well, I ripped a few little bits, but that's okay. It's nothing a black marker or a Sharpie pen can't handle. Especially when you really don't want to kind of do it no more. It dries up and you really won't tell the difference. Especially when the varnish is on it, everything kind of shines up. So quick correction right there. And just when you do it, don't rush it. I got tape. Oh, I don't like that. I already see a tear already on that side, but I believe I can save it. If not, I know how to cover that. There it is. It came off anyway, but that's okay. It's bound to happen. Usually that happens if the paint's a little wet, you put tape on it, and then you end up correcting it like that. But you see, I might as well peel that off. Peel it right off. And since this is black, you do one of these numbers, and cover it right up. That's the end of that. So any little specks of white you see, it's just a regular paint marker. And then that's the end of that. There you go. Well, there you have it. Okay. Not as many striations as a rose would have. I'm just getting a brush, so they got a little bit of a. I'm just gonna highlight a few things while I'm thinking about it here. There's a few things that need to be tightened up for me. I get a lot of notifications. Don't mind those. I just scrummed up a few highlights here and there. All right. Okay. I still think I need a little bit of darkness up in that area, right up in there. But I think overall it's all right. But anyway, there you have it. Not as smooth and flowing as others, but it is there. It's a good start if you would like to try it. Just remember the bell shapes. All right. And you got, two up on top, one in the back. And you got one on each side. Look like little angel wings or whatever, or skirts. All right. Mine still isn't as frilly, and it still looks a little stiffer on this area, but I'll keep working at it. I'll keep working at the ruffles and all that good stuff. Like I say, it's still just a play on light and shade and all of that. And got the crazy background going. But I hope you liked what you've seen. I hope this benefits you and helps you out in your painting journey. Let me know. The name should have already came across here. Grayscale Painting, not Painter, Painting. Had to correct that. And I'll see you when I see you. So until next time, peace.